I told Romeo, I say, he said, no, I want to live in the Bronx. You know, I want to just stay here. I said, like, once you start making money, you have to move out of your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I want to stay there with my people. And it's like, then somebody broke into his apartment. They stole some money, and then boom. I said, no.
No. There's this rapper. I'm not sure you ever heard of him. His name is Nipsey Hussle, or was Nipsey Hussle. This guy was, he was a really good rapper. He was building businesses in his old neighborhood in Los Angeles. Very dangerous neighborhood, but he built businesses, hired felons, you know, to work. You know, he was giving back to the community. One day he's in his
I heard about that story. Yeah.
He's in his neighborhood, and you know, some guy comes up to him that he knows, you know, from when he was a gang member. The guy's trying to, you know, exchange words with him, and from this reputation that guy snitched on other people. So he told the guy, like, hey man, you know, I'm hearing things, you know, just go get that cleared up, you know, and you know, we'll be all right. And he's like, oh, all right, cool. The guy went, left, came back with a gun and murdered him.
That's the problem.
And this guy was in the community doing good, rapping about generational wealth. His lyrics were, you know, positive. It wasn't like he was inviting that kind of energy. He's you know, he was doing a program. It was called Vector 90. And excuse me, I don't know quite the full details of it, but it was to involve inner city kids in involvement with AI and involvement in getting them invested in interacted with Silicon Valley. He was doing a lot of really cool stuff. He was one of the first rappers I ever heard talk about cryptocurrency. And this guy, for being in his old neighborhood, giving back, gets murdered. It was just like, it was one of those things that it still, even talk about it now, gives me chills.
That's the problem. So once you get to a different, that's why for me, I don't go out talking too much. Like he told me, hey, he said, I don't really do this that much because, you know,
interview,
what I do for love, people say, my mother said, well, you've been here in this country for so, what do you have? And I say, I own Central Park. And then I go to Central Park and he said, this is your backyard. I said, really? Because the whole thing about ownership is like people try to judge you for what you have, but I never disclose if I have anything. That's not something that I will do ever. You know?
I got you. You know, it's funny. One of the parts in the movie Nueva York, he tells Fellito, I believe his name was. He told him the dream is to go back. The dream is not to come. The dream is to go back. What do you think of that part of the movie? To me, it stood out a lot. It was in my notes, but we kind of veered off and stuff like that. What do you think about that moment where he tells Fellito that?
Yeah, because the thing is, we come here, not in my case, because I have a different mentality. For me, I'm a minimalist. I can, if I have a backpack and a few things that I need, I'm happy. You know, I don't need any material stuff and anything. I don't have that mentality. But people who come to this country, doesn't matter the nationality, we all come here looking for the big break. And it's like to come here to make enough money to go back home and build a house. Building a house is everybody's dream. It's like, I need to build my own house. That's the freedom, like every immigrant that comes here that's planning to go back is to build that dream, to build a house. But if you stay here, then you have no dream. Because you stay here, you get old, and then you're trying to wait for retirement and 70 years. Like now, how old you have to be to retire? Like 65 or so, lucky, 70. Yeah. And then once you're that old, then you have no life. So people who come here, they just try to make that dream of making enough money to go back and build their home and have a little business in their hometown.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to see when people do it, when people live their dream out. You know, they work here for 30 years and go buy themselves a house out there and live the rest of their days over there. You know, some people I see have that plan, and then once they move over there, they move back. They go, I can't do it. I don't know. I'm used to the fast pace.
Right.
You know?
The thing is, like, when we were growing up in our countries, it was a different culture. Now, everything is different. So people behave different, and there's no trust. So
that's true.
Here, your neighbor doesn't know who you are, what you have. They don't care. Over there is different. So everybody's like, looking at you and trying to see what you have, what they can take from you. And that's what creates all that problem. They want to come back because they don't feel like they belong to that environment anymore.
Wow.
So the dream is to enjoy life everywhere you are, because we live in one planet. It's like people say, where are you from? It's like, from where? Nobody's from nowhere. Because if we live in one planet, who owns the planet? You see? And then you have dreams, and that's what keeps you going. So if you want to make your movie, just go ahead and make it. And don't go like, oh, I don't have enough money. It's like, no, it's not the money. It's like, knock on doors. Whatever you need, somebody's going to provide it.
What would you say is your biggest accomplishment?
I don't know, like having my kids, I guess. Because once you have kids and grandsons, you know, that's what family, you know.
Okay. What would you say is your biggest professional accomplishment? How about I ask it that way?
I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet?
No.
Wow.
I'm still learning. You know, like all this AI and stuff. I work with the AI, but it's like AI needs help. I'm helping AI get better.
Yeah. You know what's funny? ChatGPT, I use it every now and then, the AI, and I asked it, you know, who were the first Latino brothers to become champion? Because you have mentioned it was these pair of Dominican brothers. It gave me a different answer, and I responded. I was like, what about Carlos Cruz and Leonardo Cruz? It responded back to me saying that they weren't brothers. I've spoken to Leo Cruz on the phone. Like,
you see?
I know they're brothers.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for confirmation.
Yeah.
I'm just, so I was just the same thing with you. I'm like, oh, they don't know everything.
No, because the chat, what it is, people don't understand. The chat is an algorithm that gathers information. And it's codes. Like, I took a coding class to understand how computer behaves. It's like, it's just searching from different search engines and putting pieces together. There is no artificial intelligence in there. There is no intelligence. Humans are intelligent. Computers are manufactured by humans. So if you put that information in, now you go to the chat and input the bio that you know, and then ask the chat again, and then you'll get the right answer.
Yeah, because you just read what you just
have
put
to
in
input it. We are feeding the monster. You see what I'm saying?
I got you.
If you don't do it, now you have to go and say, ChatGPT, let me tell you this. And then next time you ask, boom.
It's funny you referred to it as a monster. Do you think AI is bad?
No, AI can help, but you need to know how to use it, because you could do some harm using AI.
Yeah.
Like, I hear Jim Rohn reading all the books now. They use Jim Rohn's voice to read every single book. And I say, wow, Jim Rohn knows more than Jesus Christ right now. Like, he knows about everything. Because now you can sample anybody's voice and then have that voice read any book. But the problem is that voice is not going to tell you a joke. AI doesn't laugh. Try to tell AI to laugh. They don't have that.
Yeah.
That's like a uniqueness. Like, your laughter, they can't sample that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, AI don't got a spirit.
No spirit. No, because AI is just computer. You know, it's an algorithm putting pieces together. You know.